Welcome everyone, this is Acid Roots. We're going to talk about Chrono Trigger some more. So this is part 6 and we're going to head into the cathedral. Now really, this cathedral is mysterious because we don't know what danger awaits, and in a lot of ways this is still, most people are going to blow right past this pretty quickly. This is not an area where you're going to get stuck that much. As long as you just utilize your party correctly, it's a cakewalk. And that's good. I mean, the main part that I feel like is so troublesome as far as making games stick is having that beginning part of the game being interesting. And luckily it is. I mean, you're going to see a reason why you get there's some things that are going to happen, but they actually do the interesting parts, but you're going to have to play the game. I mean, you can't remove the role-playing elements. If you're a sports gamer, obviously this is not going to click, and that sort of thing. You gotta like the story. It's like you're getting a full-fledged movie that you get to control. It's the best thing about it. So we can talk to these, I think they're nuns. You know, we're here, and so obviously you know, this cathedral, I'm trying to think of, I don't know, we're going to fight these, and they will cast slow spells on you, so you're going to want to use stronger attacks to get rid of them quicker, because otherwise, you know, they're going to have a lot of attacks, and it will wear you down. But so this is one of the first dungeons in the game. This is definitely the thing about it, is this is more or less a dungeon. Chrono Trigger has them, and they're kind of similar to Zelda, Final Fantasy, that sort, and you're going to see that the only difference is you can see the enemies. You don't have to worry about random battles because you're going to be able to tell every single person that you want to fight, and you can avoid them. Now, when I play a game like Earthbound, which I've been playing a lot recently, you know, one of my things I don't like about that game is you basically have to get in every fight that you see. There's no questioning it. The enemies will run faster than you, and that's all there is. But in this game, you can outrun them. So it's definitely something. But, you know, obviously Earthbound is yet another game that you need to play. Somehow you need to get a copy of it because story is just as gripping as Chrono Trigger. So 95 was a pretty good year, mainly because of these two games. If I would have known about Earthbound in 96 or so, it would have been rather, I probably would have just been hooked on my Super Nintendo even if I would have been 6 or 7. But so we're going to get some magic attacks. So before you think, just in case you were thinking that things were going to be pretty tough for this crew, we get an addition. So my guise does not incur thy trust, so that means it does. You know, obviously, if you can figure out what he's saying, some people may not be able to do that. It's an interesting little extra bit in the game. I could never figure out what, you know, if you looked at what Frog was doing just there, I could never figure out what he was doing. He's flexing. You didn't know, like, he's showing his bicep, so I wasn't aware of that. All you have to do is press the piano and it or the organ, and it opens up the door. But before we do that, we're gonna get some extra equipment just to make these processes go quicker. It's once again, it's recommended that you keep these guys as strong as possible. But the reason why I say it is just because it's so easy to forget. That's the thing, is some people just want to blow through the game, but you're giving yourself a harder struggle by doing so. So it's just a trip out. I mean, obviously when you get deeper in the dungeon, you may not want to do it, but you also get equipment there, so you don't have to go to the shops. But so another thing that Earthbound did was it had a for sale sign. So that was something, that way you didn't have to go to a shop to sell something. A customer would come up to you no matter where you were and buy your stuff that you wanted to sell. So that was pretty neat. That game wins pretty heavily in originality. But this was another one of those games that was not a mountain slide success back in 1996 or so. Because, really the PlayStation came out at the exact same time when this game did. And I think so many people were like, hey, I'd rather play this sports game, it's got, you're getting everything that you want. I don't remember the 1995-96 PlayStation games, but I do know, you talk about video game machines, how they're not that good first couple years. Well, I don't think the PlayStation had a ton of problems back then. It was pretty, March 96, it was pretty much on its feet. But these two things came out at the same time. And a lot of folks, it was kind of wishy-washy as far as the success of this game, just because of that. The Saturn was also out, but that was the thing. This game kind of got ignored, and this worsened in '96. So that was just the thing. But I guess that's kind of one of the main reasons why the carts themselves are so expensive, is because Super Nintendo was not around much longer after this game. Well, it's just, it's extra stuff to know. I mean, really, obviously, go dip into the PlayStation. It's really not that hard, but, really the PlayStation started having these role-playing games too, but then by that point, the PlayStation 2 was out, so this always happens. It's basically good to go back and play these games now if you missed out on them, because you really don't miss like the lore and the fashion. And any gamer will still welcome you if you want to talk about Chrono Trigger. It's not like, oh, that was so 15 years ago. You don't have to worry about that. I mean, obviously there's more games, but they're still good today. So this is extra stuff. Really, once again, you may not see some of this if you don't go around the dungeon a bit more, so I'm going to do that as much as possible. Subscribe.